episodes of The Last of Us hit so much harder when you don't have some punk in your ear telling you the game was better. I'm kidding.
Shout out to our friend Trevor.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
This is I'm watching The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 6.
The price
Is wrong.
I mean, I feel like that's what it's all about.
As usual, I don't feel like I have a lot to say. However, I always end up, and this episode did cover a lot of themes. There was plot in it. It was good plot. One thing that I like, I enjoy the show, and I am enjoying season 2 in spite of a couple of my sort of like frustrations or whatever. I'll probably have to wait till it's over to decide fully how I feel. But something that was interesting about this episode is it feels like what I thought season 2 was going to be. Okay. It feels like a continuation of season 1.
Okay.
So, but no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. There is something to be said, I think, about cramming all these flashbacks into this episode and how it might have been more useful if we had sprinkled them through the episodes. I guess I'll say some of it felt a little rushed, so it didn't necessarily land as emotionally for me as I think it was supposed to, because I also just like felt like I knew this was the conclusion we were reaching anyway. So, you know,
that's what I was going to say.
I'm sort of like, I really liked it. And obviously I love watching these performances. Like Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal acting together is amazing. And I think it's great. But I just like,
also not for nothing,
I knew this is what we were going to be at.
Not for nothing, but Catherine O'Hara and Rutina Wesley gave 2 very small assists, but I would say pivotal, like very good moments that rounded the whole thing out. The
scene after Joel confronts Ellie about having the girl in her room and everything, and then he goes to talk to Gail. That was... Catherine O'Hara, first of all, is...
A living legend.
A living legend, a global treasure. She's so amazing. But then just having her be like, I'm not Lucy from Peanuts. I don't have a doctor as ensign. What is going on? And then when he finally just gets up and leaves right when she gets interested in what's going on, and she's like, incredible. No notes.
I like that. So what this show is about is about a character named Joel, and he's the worst. And this is just nothing but evidence of all the ways in which he's terrible.
I mean...
No, I second what you said. It really did everything I imagined. Yeah. When we saw a preview for this episode, I was like, I bet you I know what's going to happen. And more or less, it was exactly what I thought. It was nice having a lot of those answers filled in. Yeah. There were a couple questions. It did a thing that I really liked where it answered questions that I didn't realize were questions. That's not entirely true. Like her scar and then tattoo. Yeah. We talked about it. Like we kind of were like, what is the deal with that? Yeah. But I do like that they saved it for this.
Well, it's like so
it made it feel not so MacGuffin-y bottle episode. Like it made it not feel like an episode of Once Upon a Time where they were like, we're gonna magic away all those questions that you had.
Yeah. Well, it was like when she got bit on the stomach by the stalker in the grocery store, we saw her burn that. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, she must have, but we didn't know for sure that she burned her arm so that the girl would give her the tattoo. Because it's like, that girl's not going to tattoo over cordyceps marks. Mm-hmm. Like, that's fucking spooky. So, but like
by having it so established early on, it makes this feel like a payoff and not just a weird stunt they pulled in this episode.
Right. Completely. And I loved that she was loopy on drugs. When she came in, she was like, I just saw it and I was like, let's fucking go. And then I did it. It was so good.
Again, I always suspected that's what her thought process looked like, but it was nice to have it confirmed.
It is good to like
in an
see
unexpected moment of levity.
Yeah. There is also, okay, I agree that Joel is kind of the worst, but also He's trying so hard. And I think what's the most interesting is what he's trying hard at. Because he was a really good dad, and then she died.
Mm-hmm.
And then for 20 years, he was only a man of violence. That was his entire purpose, was to be violent and to get shit done with violence. And then he got another kid. And so it's like unlearning kind of 20 years of what he had to make himself into. And I think that's also really interesting because Ellie is more a mirror of Joel than she is of anybody, because he is the one that spent the most time with her. And it's like his violence is reflected in her, but she never was another way. So it's like she doesn't have the frame of reference where he's like, I did all of this because I love you, and you can never understand that. But like, that's why I did it, no matter how angry it makes you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wild the way that they are mirrors of each other, even though he's a 60-year-old man and she's a 19-year-old girl. I mean, I think it's really well done.
I really, really enjoyed the opening with his dad.
It was interesting, and I liked it better once we got the tie around with Joel at the end with Ellie.
Which I didn't see coming.
No,
and
I should've.
It had flashing lights all over it. And he was mostly finished with the sentence.
Yeah.
By the time I was like, oh, that's the thing from before. How'd they do that? Like, I was kind of gobsmacked, but
yeah. So we flash back to Austin, Texas, 1983, and it's baby Joel and Tommy, and Tommy is like really scared.
Well, he should be. He was like 10 buying weed in the 80s.
Probably
weed was scary back then.
It probably wasn't laced though, like it is today.
I'm just saying, all those like crazy anti-drug PSAs on 80s television. Yeah. Remember the fucking Care Bears and like all that shit, that one crossover special they did?
I know all about Nancy Reagan.
Yeah. So yeah, he was right to be scared of that man.
Of that man. So he's worried that their dad's gonna beat him with a belt, and
Joel sees an opportunity to be a fucking martyr.
A martyr. Also,
sprints head first.
Like you said, the concern is not unfounded. So Joel is like, "You're not going to. I am." And so their dad gets home, and Joel is like, it was me. I did this. I tried to buy the weed, and then they were trying to upcharge me, and so I just started swinging. And he's like, I know you're lying. Like, I talked to the officers. The kids ratted you out. Like, I know all about it. And he's like, I won't let you hurt Tommy. And he tells this story about how his dad broke his jaw one time because he was being bad.
Well, he stole a candy bar, and then his dad made him return it for stealing candy bar. Like, how old is this kid? Yeah. So his dad made him return it.
We not all done that.
Yeah, and like apologized. And I was like, that's sweet. Then got home and punched this child in the face so hard that it shattered, had to be wired shut.
For months.
Everyone knew, and
there was so much blood, the mom thought he was dead.
And the kid thought it was humiliated by it. Yeah. And I was like, really? Because I feel like the father should be humiliated by it.
Insane.
Shattering a child's jaw.
I know. For stealing a candy bar? Like one singular, did he like heist the bodega and get all the candy bar? Regardless. So Joel's like, I don't know why you're telling me this. And he goes, because one day he's like, I try to be a little better than my dad, and one day you'll be a little better than me. And I'm just like,
we do the best we can with what we're given.
Yeah. But, and then he gets up to go beat Tommy. And I was like,
I thought he just went back to work.
You're not doing better. I think he went into the house.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. Maybe I misread that completely. And he did leave and didn't punish Tommy.
He put his hat on, so I thought he was going back to work.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Make it more menacing when you get back to your son. That could have been a misread on my part. Yeah. I just assumed he was going to go do it anyway. And I'm like, ugh, you know? The thing, too, is that, like, weed is worse than stealing a candy bar. Yeah. So, for a child, especially, but whatever. I don't care about weed.
But it also sets a precedent that Joel can, like, bigger person lecture his way out of things. If he, like, made his dad see the...
I mean... So then we cut forward to
a series of Ellie's
birthdays. He gets Seth to make a cake. He trades a bag of Legos for a cake. We have a bag of Legos in here
somewhere.
Oh, there you go. I would like one vanilla cake, please. And so that's the year Ellie burns her arm. And Joel has made her a guitar and gotten her this cake, or like fixed up a guitar. And it's very sweet. And I like that. She wants to go patrolling. She's 15. She wants to go patrolling. He's like, not yet. And so then we skip forward a year and he takes her to the museum, which is Darling. Apparently it's a very big deal in the game. Will was crying out there. He said he was sobbing when he played the game. I thought it was very cute. I did think it was absolutely insane how he got a recording of the countdown from that. I just assumed he was going to start playing David Bowie or something. And so I was like, oh, like an actual mission tape. And I liked the little dream sequence and everything. Again, it didn't hit me as hard as it probably would have if I had played the game, but it was very cute. And she got up on the T-Rex and everything at the Natural History Museum, Darling. And then we cut forward one more year, and that's when she's getting her tattoo, I think. Yeah, and she's getting her tattoo, and she's making out with that girl, I think. And he gets a bit of a bummer about it.
He knows he's mad about it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know what about it he's mad about.
Well, they were smoking pot, and she was getting a tattoo, and she was kissing a girl. I think you can be mad about two of those things. You can't be mad about her kissing a girl. He says she's experimenting, and it's just like very, very 2003 language, you know? And so in the middle of the night, she starts trying to drag her mattress out to the garage because she's moving out and she's sick of it. And they like didn't really talk quite enough, in my opinion, about the lesbian part of it until the end, because he just was like, if you want to move into the garage, that's probably fine, but like give me a couple days to fix it up and I'll like help you. And so they were like at an okay enough place.
I get it. I get it enough. I mean, I guess not enough that I won't complain about it on my own after show, but I understand that this world halted in 2003. I understand that the world in 2003 wasn't fully on board with gay people, as the world in 2025 isn't fully on board with gay people. And in some ways, one could argue it's gone backwards.
But we keep having the same conversation because my deal is like, but the world ended, so who gives a shit?
Because I'm like, the two biggest hurdles for most people are God and country.
Yeah.
It's religion or politics.
Yeah.
Both things you think would, although not cease, you think that the way we treat them, the way we go about them would be slightly different 25 years into an apocalypse.
Right.
So there's a part of me where, because she even says at one point, she was like, I'm not going to get pregnant. It's like, so what are you hung up on?
Yeah. Oh, because
like, what specifically is the taboo here?
He did make that comment about like her being into Jesse. And she was like, no. And he was like, did anybody ever talk to you about like the birds and the bees? And she goes, how about if I promise not to get pregnant, you let me go on patrol? And she was like, it won't happen.
Because the thing is, like, Seth specifically said in a church, so there's like the religious, like,
it's gotta just be their meeting space.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, you know, and also he came around when Maria gave him what for.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, one of several people that gave him what for, but I don't know. It catches me off guard. But I guess I would also be annoyed if they didn't acknowledge it at all. And so I guess this is kind of the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It just is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Have you not looked at her?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a little reductive.
It's kind of there. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like on her sleeve.
It's very, we just watched the SNL and the Jane Wickline character, and Bowen Yang was like, do all lesbians have to dress like that? And I'm just like, I mean, come on. Dina has found some sexy Henleys is all I'm saying.
Dina's bisexual. Those are chaos agents.
Of course. I'm joking. But yeah, so that's basically that birthday. And then she's living in the garage.
She's like preparing to.
Yeah, then we skip 2 years and she is preparing to ask Joel questions that have been kind of plaguing her about Salt Lake City. She's like practicing and everything. And he,
I like how formal and shaky her it's like
so good. Such a good performance.
But it's like she's practicing for like debate class
Yeah.
where she's like, if in fact there were other raiders descending upon the camp, how could you, whilst carrying me?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. It's very how do we get away? Like, how did this happen? Were there actually other immune people?
Did Marlene not see when she like
Yeah. So she's preparing for that, and then Joel comes and knocks on the door and says it's like time for their first patrol. That's her like one of her birthday presents this year. And so they're basically going, and everything is okay. They're on the like one of the easiest, cleanest trails, and then they get called on the radio and are like, Eugene and somebody are having trouble. You're the closest. Can you go help? And so they decide to go help. He tries to send her back to camp. And I was just like, Joel, seriously, like, you're killing me. And I loved that, because at first I thought she was just being a bitch about it, but she was like, I'm not your kid, I'm your fucking partner. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what we're out here for. And in the first place, it feels like one of those things where, like, your family member doctor shouldn't be treating you. I'm like, your family member should not be the one that's like training you on this dangerous situation. Regardless, they get there. The other guy is getting dragged by his horse the other far away. And so then we stumble upon Eugene, who's been bit in the side.
Patented Teen Wolf.
I was going to say the same fucking thing.
I was going to be like, so he was bitten by a werewolf
so he was
instead
a werewolf.
of a zombie.
Yeah. So Joel really jumped the gun, pun intended. So he's been bitten in the side, and Joel is basically about to shoot him, and he's like, no, I need to talk to Gail, who is Catherine O'Hara.
Did we know that it was that fast acting? I mean, I guess we knew it was within 24 hours or 12 hours, I guess.
So we kind of did. In season 1, there's like not propaganda is the wrong word, but there's like a poster on the wall somewhere that's like, if you get bit on like the head or face, it's fast. The farther it goes from like your brain, the longer it takes to get there. I don't remember what the actual,
because I remember her friend, the deaf child, it was like by the next morning he had turned, but he got bit on the arm, I think. Yeah, they were trying to. Eugene wanted to get home to talk to Gail.
Yeah.
And she had him count to 10, and
hold out his hand.
Yeah, declared that he still had time.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think Joel should have lied. I for sure don't think he should have lied. But that, I feel like, was a losing game. I mean, you might have still had to, it was like huge probability you'd still have to shoot him before we got back there. And the thing for me about Joel is like,
he needs to decide whether he has to follow the rules or not. Because
that part for sure. Like, I appreciate Ellie. I appreciate that empathy in Ellie. Like, but I do feel it's going to be her downfall as well. Like,
not yet.
Well, not yet. But like, part of the reason that Joel is such an interesting character is because he does have some empathy, but it's very specific. Like, I don't think he really gives a shit who dies as long as it's not Ellie or Tommy or maybe Maria and the boy. I said maybe. I said maybe. And that's the order I put them in. Maybe the boy above Maria. But that's the only thing he cares about. And so I like her empathy in that moment. But part of my issue is that, like, there was zero guarantee you were going to make it back to the gate. And with enough time to talk to Gail and everything. And my whole thing was, if you're going to radio ahead, to be like, why do you not just get Gail on the radio so she can say goodbye to her husband?
Because I'm on Joel's side specifically there, because I'm like, I've been to Jackson Hole, and we know what the number that it's done on me. I'm like, what they have created is a paradise. Is like precious and needs to be protected at all costs. I'm sorry, but if he waltzed a bitten person up to those walls, absolutely not. And even in this episode, when he tried to pull the "this is my house," and Ellie was like, the fuck it's not. Yeah. They gave this house to us. Yeah. We are in a commune. Yeah. What aren't you understanding about?
Get it. You definitely don't get it.
And so in that regard, I'm totally on Joel's side, where I'm like, no, he's bitten. This is not. This is so well established.
And like that part especially. And like, I feel like Gail and Eugene have to have been there long enough for him to know, obviously, what the protocols are, or else you're not going outside the gate if you can't follow the protocols. Why have you not already said the things you need to say to your wife every time you're leaving?
So what I will say, because I didn't see it coming, and it actually was, I found very moving and downright profound, is when he was finally like, it's not what I wanted to say to her, it's what she would say to me.
It's her last words.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
That did hit me in a way I never really thought about.
Also, that actor, Joe Pantoliano, Will calls him Joey Pants, and so that's what I call him too. He's my brother has so great.
A friend whose last name is Pantoliano.
Really?
And they call him Pants.
Pants, yeah, Joey Pants. He's so great, and this is like a semi-rare, like, serious role for him. But yeah, that, I mean, and then, you know, Joel makes him look at the flowers, makes him look at the Rocky Mountains.
Beautiful CGI vista.
Yeah. It was really lovely, and it was beautiful, but yes,
I was being serious. It was gorgeous.
No,
it was fake though.
And that, and so then he does shoot him, and then Ellie comes around and sees it and is like pretty devastated. Like, and that's the thing for me, Joel, my dude. If you're gonna lie, are you shitting me? The way, because it was almost cruel.
Rachel, look at me.
Yeah.
You need to lie in a realistic manner. If you're gonna lie, you need to skirt the truth.
Yeah. It needs to be partially true. So it's like, because Ellie wasn't there, and he could easily be, he started shaking, he started coming at me, like, but obviously the bullet's in the back of the, you know, the entry wound is in the back of his head and everything. It's like so ridiculous. And the way that he lies to Gale, I think, is almost cruel. The things he says and the way he's making it like too earnest. And I almost wish there was like a tell in
I was
what
waiting
he
for
said.
her to be like,
he would never say
the fuck
that.
He did.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for.
Me too. And so, and because the thing is like, she ends up
don't ever deign
him.
to think you understand a couple's inside, like like their love language within, like.
That's how Tony Goldwyn gets caught in Ghost. Because he says, I love you. And she's like, no, the fuck he didn't. It's nuts. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So, yeah, because then she's hugging Joel for comfort. And Ellie is like, beg to differ.
The results came back and the lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Yeah. And so Gale slaps him, obviously. And Ellie, it basically is like, this is how I knew. Like, you swore to me that you were going to bring him back to talk to Gale, and you had the exact same look on your face when you told me about the fireflies, and I feel like I knew the whole time.
I'm glad that the show, they kind of had it both ways, but from that moment in season 1, I was like, she fucking knows.
She
knew.
She knew he wasn't being entirely truthful, but
she's not as dumb as she is.
She's not as dumb as she is. But I think it's obviously after he lies about Eugene, then we see the whole New Year's perspective, or New Year's party from Joel's perspective, which you were like, it's got really interesting like notions about what's actually going on based on who's in currently
even though
involved.
We're still in the thick of it. I kind of get a sense of what this season game is doing, and I was like, I'm starting to feel like perspective, like each person's perspective might be a theme of this season, because you get to you see how it changes with each person and with the information that they have, like,
and so we see him see Seth do a homophobia and then he gets up and knocks him out. And the thing is like, because I think we had that moment where he was not entirely cool with Ellie being a lesbian, I think it actually makes that hit harder. That it was like, just in that moment, he was like, you just called my daughter a slur. I'm gonna knock you to the ground. But Ellie is still pissed. Rightfully.
I think Joel was more justified from his perspective than he seemed from Ellie's perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And so we then do the same cut, basically, where he is back at the house playing the guitar, and Ellie walks up, and you see her go towards the garage, but then we hang on it, and she comes back up.
I saw there was a debate as to whether or not we believed there was more to that scene when it aired the first time, and it could have been from people who played the game, and I just didn't take that on. But I really like that there was that question mark, and then we revisited it in this episode, and that the scene did go on longer. And I really like what they covered in that scene and how they ended it. And that's good because Joel was killed the next day.
Yeah. I think it's actually really, really good. I was really impressed by it, and it also takes a lot of the sting out of it. Like, whenever she was talking to Jesse, when Jesse was trying to sort of like shit talk Joel, and she was like, look, man, our relationship is our relationship, and it's gonna look weird to anybody on the outside, but like, it's what we have. We're always gonna be, you know, who we are to each other. And knowing that she said that after they had this sort of like resolving conversation was really helpful to me, because he also like opens it up with such an earnest face and like asking her about kissing Dina, and like,
Pedro uses his face a lot.
Oh my God, to extraordinary effect. He's got such a good face. Oh, it's amazing.
And it's a little bit to go Teen Wolf again, it's a little bit Tyler Posey.
Sure.
He kind of has a crooked face.
It's a little crooked.
But it's like handsome and he can make it do things.
He's got like one of my favorite noses in Hollywood. I love his face.
But that's the scene where one day when you have a child, maybe you'll do it better than I did.
Yeah, you'll do a little better than me. I did before we we did it, but I did really like the meat of the whole conversation, because he starts off with a very like personal thing, and then this is when she's like, I feel like I knew it the whole time, but like, I need you to answer me right now, and if you lie again, I'll know, and that'll be the end of it. And so she asks all the questions. You know, were there other raiders? And he's like, no. Did you kill everybody? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, even Marlene? And he's like, yeah. And
to which we said, we were like, that's the one that's really hard.
Marlene is the toughest to get over, for sure.
Because then it's no longer just like indiscriminate bad guys.
It's not us versus them. Yeah. It's like Marlene was one of us. And so she says, were there other immune people? And he says, no. And she says, could they have made a cure? And I guess the implication is supposed to just be yes. It was going to work 100%, and he prevented that from happening. And he said it would have killed you, and she said, then that is how I was supposed to die, and you took my purpose away from me, which is what her moth is and everything.
Which, I mean, I can't imagine.
What?
The notion that you could have maybe saved the world, and then your dad took that away from you?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I have issues with the cure. I have issues with its like actual feasibility, whether or not the science is supposed to have worked, fine, whatever. How are we distributing this?
It's a little Deus Ex Machina in a reality that has programmed us to, it's very grounded, you know, and it's a little like, the cure.
Yeah, but it's like, that's the thing for me where I'm like, okay, fine. So like, you made this cure. How many, but in doing so, you have removed Ellie's brain. There's no more Ellie. You have a set amount of this stuff. Then you have to synthesize it. Then you have to give it to the people in your immediate vicinity.
We don't know how they were going to do it because he killed them.
I mean, of course, but it's just like globally, you're going to do this globally somehow from one university hospital in Salt Lake City. I don't believe
they were going to start from there.
Maybe. So anyway, he's like, they would have killed you, and she gets very mad, and he's like, it's because I love you. Like, and you might not ever understand that, but if you ever do have kids of your own, I hope you do better than me. And it was just sort of like, you know, because I was with you, we were all the way done with the sentence, and I was like, oh no. And so she said, I don't know if I can forgive you for this, but I want to try. And that is where they left their conversation. And then he was killed.
It also explains some of her vengeance. I mean, it would be there regardless. Yeah. But I feel like it's...
That's my fucking dad, man!
But I feel like it's like...
Yeah, no, it totally works.
11.
And that's the other thing, too, is like, I that was what I was talking about, too, earlier with the, like, their violence mirroring each other. Because she is making this hurt in a way that like Joel's done that. When he was torturing The guys from the not incest, the like pedophile cannibal camp in season 1, he like stabbed him in the knee and was like, I'm gonna pop your kneecap right out of your leg. And I was like, ugh. So I get it. I kind of get it. And then at the very, very end, we cut back to her walking up to the theater where Jesse and Dina should be. I think
where Jesse's going to survive the season.
I think we're counting down the seconds for Jesse.
Jesse's going to live. I was Jesse's girl.
Hopefully Tommy's in there too. I could use some new Tommy content.
Some good lecturing.
Yeah. There is probably going to be. I don't know. Tommy told them to go, so we'll see. But yeah, good episode. I liked it. I'm very sorry for video game people who are not enjoying
having to suffer through this indignity.
But
this travesty.
I think it's great. You're such an asshole. No, I'm really liking it, so it's working for me. Mm-hmm. I guess that's what I'll say. I see some cracks with this season, but overall, like the themes and the actors and the like overall story, it's hitting how it should for me. So,
sure.
Yeah. So. All right, we'll be back next week for the finale. Bye.